Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining me in yet again another video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. In today's video, we're going to talk about my personal experience with plastic surgery. Okay, with in particular with breast implants. Okay, and I'm going to talk about this, right? Because I believe it's important for for women who are considering getting plastic surgery, right, or breast implants, to to be aware of all of the different things that might potentially affect them. I know a lot of times when we do get plastic surgery, we don't really think about the possible implications, right? Not just like emotional ones, but overall, like mental implications and physical implications, right? We just don't think about that. It's kind of like, I suppose we're driven by emotions, right? And we want to get it right, and we imagine how we're going to look like, right? So in most cases, it's merely we merely focus on the looks, right? And how we're going to look like, right? But we don't really think about everything else, right? Underneath, right? So I think it's important to consider everything before getting breast implants, because it's not something to be taken lightly, right? And it has a lot of different consequences, basically, right? And so yeah, that's why I decided to make this video. I was hesitant to make it, to be honest with you, but I feel like I've gone through this experience, and came back without, as you can see, and and so I want to kind of, I want to make it. I want to share my experience, so hopefully, it will, help some of you guys make ultimately make the best decision for you. So yeah, in this video, guys, we're going to talk about the 6 different ways, right? 6 different reasons on why you shouldn't get plastic surgery, right? In particular, breast augmentation, right, or breast surgery. Okay, so let's get into it, all right? So I just remember being in Whole Foods, right? And it was still in Florida in Boca Raton, right? And the Whole Foods was across the street from FAU, right? And that's where I used to go to university, right? Anyway, so I was at Whole Foods, and a lady came up to me, right? Like a girl, right? She was a young girl, maybe in her 20s, right? And so she came up to me, and at the time I was really, really thin, right? So it was kind of obvious from my body that my breasts weren't real, right? And that I did have surgery, right? So anyways, she came up to me, and she asked me, she's like, "Hey, excuse me, can I ask you a personal question?" And and I looked at her and I kind of smiled, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And she asked me, she's like, "Just from your body, you're very, very thin. I can tell that you probably have breast implants, right?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, it's true, it's true. They're fake." And and she's like, "Well, I'm really, really considering getting my breast implants too. Getting breast implants, right? So, what was your experience like? Do you think I should do it? Do you think I should go for it?" And, I looked at her and I was thinking, I thought to myself, well, it's probably like God sent her my way, right? Because, little did she know, right, that I was about to get them out. I was about to get them removed, right? And so I had, surgery scheduled just a few days later, right? And I told her this, I said, "Listen, just from my experience, and considering everything, right? Overall, highly regret getting them, right? And I really just want my old breasts back, right? Even if they're very small, right? I just want my old body back, and I really do regret getting them, right? And I told her this. And I said, you know, um, I'm a natural athlete, right? And I'm gonna discuss this a little bit later, right, in more detail. But I told her I'm a natural athlete, and they bother me, right, all the time, and they just don't feel real. And so it feels like there's a foreign part in your body, right? And it never, you can never get used to it. It's like it's always there. There's just this something that doesn't belong, right? And it is foreign, right? Of course. And you can just never get rid of it, right? No matter how much you want, because it's attached to you, right? And so that's exactly how it felt like, and that feeling kind of like after the surgery, it never went away, right? Anyway, so this is what I told her, right? And I said, really, you should, if you're considering getting, that surgery and going off, under the knife, really, really consider it. Consider all the different implications, right? And I personally wouldn't get it. I told her, and I said that just be happy with your body, and you have wonderful breasts, right? Even if they're small or on a small scale, right? It doesn't matter. They're yours, right? And they're your God-given breasts, and that's what you're meant to have. And you should learn to accept that and to be happy with it. And so yeah, I gave her my honest truth, right? And she just kind of like walked away really, really happy, and I feel like she was relieved. So I think that she came up to the right person. you know so yeah, when a few days later, right, as I walked into the doctor's office, the doctor looked at me, right, and he asked me, right, he was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to get those removed? And I just like I laughed and I said, yes, I am 100% positive. I want to get them removed, and I want to get them removed ASAP, and I just don't want them anymore. I want them removed, absolutely. And I don't even care what they're going to look like after. I don't care if they hang. I don't care if there are scars there. I just don't care. I want them out. And he was just like completely shocked, right? And it seemed like he was like hesitant. He didn't like, he couldn't believe that I wanted them out, right? Because to him, they kind of looked perfect, right? Maybe they were the perfect shape, right? And they were really well done, I suppose, but in a way, right? But not so much, actually. I mean, they did do a good job, right, in terms of getting them done, but it was a very good doctor, right? He was very well known in Boca Raton, right? And anyway, so and it wasn't a cheap breast augmentation, right? It was really costly too, so it was well done, right? But at the same time, there was a gap, like a pretty large gap between them, so they didn't look entirely natural. It was kind of a little bit on so yeah, that was the issue also, right? Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so why did I laugh, right, when I talked about the doctor? Because he couldn't believe that I wanted them out, right? And he asked me maybe about 3 or 4 different times if I was sure about the surgery. And of course I laughed, because because of his question. And yes, of course, I said yes, 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 every time. Of course, I wanted them out, right? And I was pretty clear about that. So guys, anyways, now that I talked about this, right, I was absolutely, absolutely so happy when I got them removed. you know um I just, I started to feel like myself, once again. And why did I get breast implants in the first place, right? To be honest with you, I was really young when I got them. I was really naive. I was happy with my natural breast, to be honest with you, but I was sort of talked into it. Of course, I don't want to blame everyone else, right, for my decision. It was ultimately my decision, right? So I own it, right? I want to own it. At the same time, my mom, she had breast implants too, and she was the one that kind of like pushed me into that direction, right? And I remember her saying like, oh, you know, your breasts are small, right? And like maybe you'll get the fake ones like me eventually, right? And I told her actually no, I'm pretty happy with the ones that I have, so probably not, right? But she said I think you'll rethink this, right? And so this kind of like this got the ball rolling in a way, right? It kind of like planted the seeds into my head that perhaps maybe I should get breast implants, right? And then there were some other people that mentioned it, right? And one of my close friends in particular, right? And so that's why eventually, like, eventually I got them, right? It was mostly kind of like peer pressure, I would say, right? And because I was so young and kind of naive, I just kind of went along with it, right? I also kind of, in my head, I told myself maybe if I do get breast implants, then I will have a more successful career in modeling too, right? Because at the time, like I talked about in one of my other videos, right, I was modeling. So and that was one uh, in my own thoughts, like kind of I just told myself, okay, if I do get breast implants, then perhaps my modeling career, it will be even more successful, right? I started doing quite well, especially on the runway, right? But I just wanted more, right? I wanted to be even more successful, and so I kind of told myself that if I do get them, then maybe my modeling career will just take off right from then. So yeah, and of course, it was a mistake, right? And I'm going to talk about why, right? Of course, as a young girl, as a naive girl, right? I didn't think about all of these things, right? And the things that I'm going to mention now in this video, right? We're gonna talk about six different things, right? That you should definitely consider before getting, breast implants, okay? So, guys, one of the things, right, is if you are the kind of a girl, right, that wants to get into a serious relationship, right, that wants to be taken seriously and that is looking for a guy who is looking for a long-term committed relationship, right, then you're going to start attracting guys who are not those types of men, okay? And I'm not saying that all of these guys will be like this, but you will start attracting a lot more of the guys that are like commitment phobes and guys who do not want to uh, get into a long-term relationship, okay? And so these guys, they're going to be looking for someone who is merely um, physically attractive, right? Or desirable. Okay, so that's what these guys tend to be focused on, right? And they're called like there was a study done, right? They're called unrestricted men, basically. Okay, which means they're looking for short-term relationships, right? That means like one night stands, right? And they're more focused on the health and fertility of the woman. They're more focused on the outer qualities, basically. Okay, so and supposedly when a female has large breasts, right? So the larger the breasts, the more likely that she is to be more fertile, right? And also the more likely that she has a higher estrogen levels, right? Which makes her more fertile, right? Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so this is the study that was done, right, by NIH, okay? And basically that's what it says, right? men who tend to engage in short-term, low-commitment relationships, right, unrestricted men, are more attracted to large breast sizes than men who tend to engage in long-term relationships with high emotional commitment. Okay, so anyways, so like I said, right, I kind of explained to you what that means, right? That means that you are going to attract a lot more guys that are of like low quality, I suppose, guys that just are looking to sleep with you, right? To get into your pants, okay? And it's true. I kind of like from experience, yes, this was definitely the case, right? For me, that's what I found out too, okay? So, yeah, that's something that you should definitely think about, right? Especially if you're the type of a girl that doesn't want to be seen as a promiscuous woman, right? Once again, with larger breasts, you're going to be seen as more promiscuous, right? Just as you are if you use a lot of makeup, right? Um, so yeah, definitely think about this, okay? When if you want to get breast implants, okay? So anyways, so another point that I'm going to mention, right, is it is extremely dangerous, actually. Okay, so I did not, to be honest with you, I did not think about this too much. Okay, once again, I was merely just focused on the looks, right, and I was focused on, oh, okay, how am I going to look after the surgery, right? What will be the outcome, right? What kind of things will I get? What are the opportunities and so on, right? And so I wasn't really thinking about the health implications, right? Of course, actually, I did think about one of them, right? Right, and I did do some research on it, right? That was whether in the future would I be able to like breastfeed, right? And of course, that was also kind of unclear, right? And some did say that there are some risks, right? And with breast implants, this can be a problem, okay, depending on how they're done, right? Anyways, so yes. Anyways, but what I've discovered, right, is that there are actually a lot of different health implications as far as getting implants, okay, go. And here they are, okay. I'm going to kind of like read them to you, right? So there's a risk of infection, right? Then, of course, there's the pain, right? The pain was unbearable afterwards, guys, after the anesthesia. It was just completely unbearable, right? And they give you these, like, of course, you're all drugged up afterwards, right? They give you oxycodone, maybe, I think, which is kind of like, it mimics. Um, Anyways, I'm not gonna get into that, right? But it's a painkiller, right? And it's also kind of addictive too. Okay, so that's not a good thing, right? Anyway, so yeah, they give you some serious painkillers which kind of like negatively affect everything else in your body for a while, right? So I kind of like lost my memory. I couldn't remember anything, during that time, and I was just completely drowsy, very sleepy, right? For maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, right? But it lasted for a while, right? So, yeah. Of course, there's another risk, right? There's the risk of bleeding. There's the risk of breast complications, right? All kinds of breast complications. There's the um, like the fact that you can get a rupture, right? And so there's that, right? There's also the scarring, right? You'll probably get scars. I still have my scars, although they're kind of almost they're not too visible anymore, and yeah, yeah. Um, so there's also there's the skin changes, right, around the nipples. Then there's the risk of asymmetry, right? And like I already talked about it with you guys, right? My breasts were kind of a little bit. Uh, they were okay. They were pretty I would say they were nicely done, right? But at the same time, they were a little bit too far away from one another, a little bit, right? So it looked a little bit unnatural, right? When I had my clothes off, right? And it just, yeah, it wasn't. It just kind of, especially when I lost like a lot of weight too, right? They just started looking like two basketballs, right? I mean, they weren't too big. They were, I think, C pluses, right? You'll see it on the pictures that I'll post to this video, right? I have breast implants there. So yeah, they kind of like they looked very unnatural, when I lost too much weight. Also, so yeah, there's that also, right? Then also there's the capsular contracture, right, that you can get to. And of course there's the risk of not being able to breastfeed if you ever want to, right? And also there's the anesthesia risk, right? Because supposedly when doctors do anesthesia, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I really don't know too many details about that, but I think I've read this a long time ago, right? And this is just what I remember. When doctors administer anesthesia, they don't know the exact amount to administer, right? So they can like basically overdose you, and you'll end up, never waking up, right? So there's a huge risk with that too, right? So yeah, guys, it really is very dangerous, right? And so you should definitely think about the fact that you might compromise your life and your health, right? In exchange for something that's fleeting, right? In exchange for something that will not last, right? Eventually our bodies get old, we'll die, and that's it, right? So is your life or is your health really worth that? Probably not, right? um so yeah. Anyway, so guys, also another point, right? It is very expensive, okay? The average cost of breast implants, right, is $4,516, okay? So instead of getting those fake boobies, right, fake breasts, you can use this money to build new skills, right? You can develop your skills, right? You can go get I don't know, a degree in something that's maybe hard to learn, right? Gain some like hard skills, right? Skills that will always be with you, right? That you can take for the rest of your life, right? Invest in yourself, don't just invest into your physical looks, right? If you invest into something like gaining new skills, right, that's intrinsic, right? You're always going to have that as long as you practice it, right? As long as you use it, and it will serve you, right? You can become more financially independent, right? Or you can help other people, right? um, and so on, right? So yeah, just think about that, right? Or you can invest this money, right? Once again, you can invest this money and receive dividends from them, right? You can grow that money, right? And I don't know, save it for retirement, right? Use it on your kids if you have kids, right? Um, you know, so there are so many different ways that you can go about using this money, right? Instead of getting the dangerous, the expensive, the fake breast implants that will um, eventually they won't matter anymore, right? So guys, there's also a matter of you rejecting your God-given natural body, right? Something that you were born with, right? It's like you telling yourself and God, right, our creator, that this isn't good enough. I'm not good enough. I have to change, right? There's nothing wrong with improvement. Yes, you can improve yourself as long as you're not compromising your health too, right? The issue I think with the world today is that you know many people kind of they're not thinking about the consequences of their desires, a lot of us have desires, right, including myself, And sometimes we are willing to like compromise our values, right? We're willing to compromise, um, you know, ourselves, right, in the process to get those goals, to get those desires met, right? And so so yeah, there's that, right? For example, right, I will give you an example. Of course, it doesn't really relate, kind of, right? But during COVID, right, during the pandemic, a lot of people, they took the experimental jobs, right? They took the experimental, uh, you know, I can't even call them, V vaccines, right? But they're more like gene altering therapy, right? Therapeutics. That's what they were. It should have been called, right? Anyway, so a lot of people took those, right? Um, because they were afraid to lose their jobs, right? Because they were afraid to be out of work, right? Um, and That's ridiculous, to be honest with you. That's a ridiculous reason. I'm sorry, people, right? And I'm going to be like very blunt about it, right? But I think it's really ridiculous because you don't know what you're taking, you know? They didn't give us any long-term studies on these things, right? And we didn't have too much information, right? So what ultimately what you did is trust the government, trust the corrupt pharmaceutical industries that have a criminal record, basically. Okay, if you look into them, right, um, they've done a lot of things that were extremely immoral, right? And they just kind of like pay the price for it, and that's it, right? They were like let off the hook, right? Anyway, so ultimately you were trusting those corporations with your own body, with your own health, okay? And so this is the case here. This is the issue, right? Is that a lot of us, um, you know, we we um, we don't think about the health implications of what we're doing. We don't think about the consequences, right? We don't think about the bigger picture, right? We just think like, oh, this will look good, right? Oh, I won't lose my job, right? Oh, I don't know. Oh, this is, I can get this and this and that, right? Financial something, material, right? But we don't think about the biggest thing of all, right? And that is our health, right? Our health, honestly, guys, without it, we're not going to be alive, right? We're not going to have this earthly human experience, right? So our health should be our priority, okay, guys? So there's that, right? It's not so back to the surgery, back to the implants, right? What you're um, what you're saying here, right, is basically my looks is more important than my health, okay? But really it should be the opposite, right? Because without your health, none of that stuff will matter, right? Because you're just gonna die, right? And that's it, right? So, guys, another reason, right, on why breast implants are no bueno, right, is because they might decrease your confidence. I know a lot of you ladies, when you do get or if you're hoping to get breast implants, right, you're hoping that they will give you more confidence, right? They will make you more confident. But I will tell you this, right? When I got them, initially perhaps they did maybe boost my confidence, right? But it's kind of like with big money, right? Um, Ultimately, right? Once you do make it, right? You make a lot of money, um, and so you get happier, right? And then your happiness level decreases again, once again, right? It goes back to like equilibrium, right? And same here applies here too, right? But to add to that, right, is that your confidence might actually decrease. Okay, it's not. It might increase for a while, right? If they did a good job on your breasts, right? If the doctors did a good job, um, it might decrease because first of all you're attracting a lot of low quality men that just want you that just see you as a plaything, that just want you for sex, basically. And maybe you don't want that, right? So you might start beating yourself up and thinking that something is wrong with you because of that, right? And then also there's this, right? For example, let's just say um, that there was an issue, right? And the doctors did something wrong, right? And maybe there's breast asymmetry now, right? Like mine, for example, right? Mine just when I was a runner, right? And while I was running, they were just like bouncing, right? And there's this water, right? There was saline, and you could hear it, and it was just like absolute. It felt really, really strange, right? I just felt incredibly strange with them. I felt like they were just something that was like slowing me down, something that was interfering with my workouts too, right? So, and I'm gonna discuss this a little bit later, right? That this will be my like next point, right? But so yes, you have to think about your confidence because of all of those things, right? They will decrease, right? Um, you also right? Your confidence doesn't come from your looks per se, okay? To an extent, perhaps, right? To an extent, to a very small extent, but ultimately, how we feel inside, the things that we do, right? They, those are the things, the things that we do for other people, right? How we behave towards others, right? Are we kind? Are we generous? Are we giving, right? Are we loving? Ultimately, all of those things make us feel a certain way about ourselves and affect how we view ourselves in the mirror too. Okay, so these things, right? Like they give us the true confidence, right? And all of those things will make us more attractive to ourselves, right, in the mirror. So that's what you have to realize, right? It's not the external things, right? Like your boobies, right? Like your breast implants that will give you the confidence that you're after, right? It's the internal things, right? It's like I mentioned before, right? Being kind, going after the things that you're afraid of, right? So, like facing your fears, right? Um, I don't know, trying new things, right? Like stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? Doing the things that make you really scared and afraid, right? Helping others, right? Get through stuff. Maybe supporting others emotionally or even financially if you can, right? So really, it's not about us, right? It's really about other people. It's being, it's being focused on serving others, right? Service to others. That will ultimately give you the intrinsic qualities that will make you feel more confident and more comfortable in your body, and it will make you it will so your breasts will not matter, okay? So like I said, right, your confidence might increase if the doctors did a good job on your breasts, right? But ultimately it will decrease because of the things that I mentioned, right? Or maybe even stay the same, It's probably gonna, if you are an unconfident person to begin with, right? And if you're just only focused on your looks, then no amount of surgery is going to fix your confidence issues, okay, your self-esteem issues. It's an inner work, right? You're going to have to do the inner work, and that's what's going to ultimately give you the confidence that you need, so and that will ultimately make you okay with small breasts, it will ultimately make you love your body the way your God-given body, so you're not gonna care about your external appearance too much, okay? you guys, and last but not least, okay, your sports, if you're an athlete, right, your sports performance might suffer, okay, and you might even develop certain phobias, okay. So this was kind of like my experience, okay, because while I was running, right, my breast would like shake, right, and I would hear the water, and when I was lifting, right, sometimes they would just like interfere, right, I couldn't like do certain moves right the right way, right, and so they and ultimately like at the end I was a little bit afraid. I developed this phobia that they would like blow up or like break, right, or rupture, right, and so I didn't do certain moves, right, I avoided doing certain moves in the gym, right, certain exercises, and so yeah, there's that, right, you have to also, if you're an athlete like I was, right, like I am, you know, there's a reason why you're an athlete, I think, right, and there's a reason, supposedly we certain body types are inclined towards certain things, right? And there's a reason why certain people are more active, and there's a reason why certain people are less active, right? And um, if you're born with a certain body type, perhaps you will be more inclined towards certain exercises, right, and so on, and perhaps even just physical activity, right, as a whole. If you are born with an athletic body type, right, or if you're more inclined to have that body type, right, a mesomorphic body type, for example, right, then perhaps you're not meant to have large breasts, right, because they would like interfere, right, with your performance, right, and so by you getting breast implants, um, you're interfering with that natural, not process, but that natural way of being, right, for you. And so you're going to kind of like place a wrench, right, into the, to the wheel, right. um, and so yeah, I honestly, that's how I felt, right. I felt like they were interfering with my workouts. um, I was really annoyed, right, when I was running. When I would run, I would just, they would you know jiggle, right, and just like, I felt like they were slowing me down. I just didn't want them there. It was kind of like they gave me a lot of negative emotions, right? So yeah, it wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. Okay, guys. Anyway, so here's the thing that I'm also going to talk about, right? So this is the last thing that I'm going to mention, right? Is that um, you know, what happened right after I went back, right? What happened after I had this experience, right? And I went back to, having small breasts, right? Honestly, guys, it wasn't that bad, okay? At first, they were kind of a little bit like, they hung maybe just a little bit, right? But because I had small breasts and because I'm big into working out, lifting weights, right? And just running, right? Ultimately everything just tightened, right, and got back to normal pretty much. So all I have is this like these two very little scars, right, that are barely noticeable. Also, I was able to breastfeed just fine, guys. I breastfed for 3 years, thank God. you know and it was, I'm really, really glad that nothing bad happened, that I'm still alive, and that my mistake didn't end up costing me my life, or my ability, that I didn't, I'm glad that I didn't lose my ability to breastfeed, right? So guys, yeah, if you want to if you're thinking about getting breast implants, please rethink your decision, okay? Rethink your desires, really rethink things over and over and over again, and even after that, rethink it again, okay? Because I really do. My experience showed me that it wasn't worth it, and I would never interfere with my God-given body again, you know. I absolutely adore my small breasts, and I yeah, now more so than ever. So guys, love your body, ladies, love your body the way that it is. Learn to appreciate it, and develop that inner confidence, right? Develop those inner qualities that will um, get you to view yourself in a completely different way, right? So yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I wish you all the best. Much love to you, and stay tuned for another video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like this channel, comment. I'm a new channel, and yeah. Anyways, guys, much love to you. Mwah.